Hi, my name is Cameron, and it is December of 2016. I'm interviewing my mother here of generational discussion on sexual education. So, Mom, what year did you graduate high school?
I graduated from high school in 1982.
So, what was your experience with sexual education if you had any back then?
Sex education when I was in school started in fifth grade. And in fifth grade, they separated the boys from the girls. And the girls were brought into one room and the boys into another. And they had a discussion about changes your body was going to go through. You got a little pack that included a little napkin and tampon. And they talked about how a sperm and an egg came together to create a baby. However, we were all left with the mystery of how the egg and the sperm actually got together. They didn't actually discuss that. And then we saw a little video, and that was the sex education we received in school.
So, what was the primary source of information on sex in your generation? Was it either through your friends, sex education like you just discussed, parents, or a different source that you had?
There was no other sex education that you had. It was something that two people kind of figured out on their own. The only sex education you got was, like I said, in fifth grade, and we didn't really discuss anything too in-depth with your friends and family. It was kind of a taboo subject.
What did your parents tell you about sex and about discussing sex?
Very little information was ever shared with your parents. You know, I think my mom may have asked me after the fifth grade class if I had any questions, which I didn't. I did not ask any questions, and I think as I had one sister, as we got older, I think my dad may have at one point in a discussion about birth control had told my sister and I that the best birth control was an aspirin. And if you put that aspirin between your knees and you never let it go, you would never get pregnant.
How do you think our generation is different in viewing sex in your generation?
How the generations view sex differently? Well, I think your generation views sex very casually. It doesn't seem to have love involved in it, and it's almost like something you expect everyone to do, and you have multiple partners, and there's no commitment, and it just seems very casual.
How do you think our generation gets our information on sex?
How do I think you get it? I think you guys are bombarded with sex. I think you see it if you're buying makeup, if you're buying a car, if you're looking at TV, you're just bombarded with sex. And the internet now, you can get any piece of information you want on the internet. I think you guys are bombarded with sex.
So, in our generation, how do you think we view discussing about sex compared to yours? So, like when you come home on vacation or you come home visiting family or meal time, events like that.
Well, there is no sex mealtime discussion in my generation. I think you guys view sex, like I said, very casually. You guys talk about it. It's a joke. I mean, you guys make all kinds of comments and sexual comments towards people and towards each other, and you view sex more as something that's comical and doesn't have anything to do with love.
So, Mom, you are married? Right?
Yes.
You have been married for how many years?
32 years.
32 years, as of a few months ago. And you knew my dad for how long before you married him?
We were engaged within 3 months.
3 months of knowing each other. So, for advice for our generation to yours, what do you have, considering that our generation doesn't always last, 32 years? We're lucky, to last 10 years, knowing each other for 4 or 5 years. So if you could give a piece of advice for a happy 32 years of marriage, what do you have to say?
I would say the biggest thing that I feel your generation is missing is commitment. I think in this generation of fast, I want it, I get it, it's all about me, no one takes the time to really stay committed. There is no one issue that should ever divide two people. If you no one is perfect, and you're going to run into problems, and it's going to be like that with everyone. But I think your generation runs into a problem, and your way of solving it is to dissolve it, and you just move on to the next person. But I really think that if you viewed your family as a team, and you build your team to be your team for life, that in the end you have a strong, solid family, and you don't give up. So my advice to you would be to never give up. Stay committed.
Well, thank you so much for your time and today to help me with these studies.